to the Thought Snob Podcast. I'm Paula Swope. Let's get snobby. Someone recently commented on one of my astrology videos and said they had Chiron in their natal chart, and they added a crying emoji and said, I'm cursed. So I want to clear this up, and am dedicating this episode to giving you the 411 about Chiron. You're not cursed because you have Chiron in your natal chart. Everyone has Chiron in their natal chart. I have Chiron. You have Chiron. Your parents have Chiron. Your kids have Chiron. Everyone born on this planet has Chiron somewhere in their chart. A Chiron is commonly called the wounded healer, and in Greek mythology, Chiron was a wise teacher and healer who suffered from a wound he could not heal himself. Now, astrologically, Chiron can show us where we carry a deep sensitivity, insecurity, or wound, but it can also show us where we have the potential to develop tremendous wisdom. Now, your Chiron placement is not a punishment. It's not proof that you're doomed, damaged, or cursed, okay? I mean, it shows you where healing may become an important part of your life and where your experiences may eventually allow you to help someone else, okay? So, to understand your Chiron, you need to look at its sign and the house. The sign describes how the wound may express itself, and the house shows you the area of life where you're most likely to experience it. And I'll give you some very basic information that I hope will help you get to the bottom of your wound. And it's very important that you face this wound and heal it. If you don't, it will keep getting in your face, and it gets more intense as you age, you know. It's like a monkey on your back. And, you know, Chiron has a 50-year orbit. So around the age of 50, you'll go through what's called your Chiron return. If you haven't dealt with your wound, sometime between the ages of 49 to 51, the same old thing that's burdened you your entire life will show up again to see if you're really healed. And you can't hold astrology to a time clock because the universe speeds up and it slows down, but your Chiron return will happen around the age of 50. If you're watching on YouTube, here is the sign for Chiron. If you're listening, Chiron looks like an OK symbol in your chart. It's a little circle with a small k attached. Find Chiron in your chart, see what house it's in, and what sign it's with. And I'm going to go around the zodiac wheel and give you a brief overview of what Chiron might mean in each sign and in each house. And I'll start with the signs, all right? Aries. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. Ruled by Mars, Aries is a cardinal fire sign. Chiron in Aries may create a wound surrounding identity, confidence, courage, or just the right to exist as an individual. You may struggle to assert yourself or feel that you have to fight for your place in the world, and you may feel like everyone else has a right to take up space and be successful, but you don't. Next sign is Taurus. Taurus is the second sign. It's ruled by Venus. Taurus is fixed earth. Chiron and Taurus may produce wounds connected to self-worth, money, stability, or your ability to feel safe. You may have to learn that your value is not determined by what you own or how other people value you. It's like, don't ever associate your self-worth with a designer label. Your self-worth should be completely separate from any material asset that you own. Gemini, that's the third sign, ruled by Mercury. Mercury, or Gemini, is a mutable air sign. Chiron and Gemini may point to wounds involving communication, education, intelligence, or, feeling heard. And, you may have once believed your ideas didn't matter, but you can eventually become someone who helps other people find their voice. So, your Chiron wound is a hidden superpower. You heal it, and then you can heal other people. Okay, Cancer is next. Cancer is the fourth sign in the zodiac, ruled by the moon, and Cancer is cardinal water, very emotional. Chiron in Cancer may involve wounds connected to family, belonging, emotional security, or feeling nurtured. Healing may require you to create the emotional safety you didn't always receive from other people. Now, Chiron Cancer is a wound around deeply oversensitive emotions, and those can cause a person to crawl into their shell and just curl up in a ball, okay? So it's very important to heal that wound. So you don't do that. Leo. Leo is the fifth sign, ruled by the sun. Leo is a fixed fire sign. Chiron and Leo may create sensitivity around visibility, creativity, recognition, or feeling special. I mean, you may be afraid to shine because your confidence was shot down. I mean, maybe you were criticized or you were ignored. Chiron in Leo is a bruised ego. If this wound goes unhealed, it can cause a person to never share their creative talents with the world. It's like maybe you were criticized so harshly about your special talent or your creative talents that you were even led to believe that you weren't talented, okay? Something to think about if your Chiron is with Leo. Virgo. Virgo is ruled by Mercury. Virgo is mutable earth. Chiron in Virgo may involve wounds surrounding perfectionism, usefulness, health, work, or just never feeling good enough. And healing comes when you stop believing you must be flawless to be worthy. Libra is the seventh sign, ruled by Venus. Libra is cardinal air. Chiron in Libra may produce wounds involving relationships, equality, rejection, or keeping the peace. You may lose yourself trying to maintain relationships and eventually have to learn that harmony should not require self-abandonment. Scorpio is the next sign. It's ruled by Mars and Pluto. For the day-to-day stuff, we go with Mars, but in modern astrology, Pluto is typically the ruler of Scorpio. Scorpio is fixed water. Chiron in Scorpio may bring wounds connected to betrayal, intimacy, control, trust, loss, or power. I mean, this is an intense placement, but it can also create a powerful ability to survive, transform, and guide others through darkness. People with Chiron and Scorpio are often wounded by something they had no control over, and a huge part of their healing process involves finding out why it happened. Sagittarius is next, ruled by lucky Jupiter. Sagittarius is mutable fire. Chiron and Sagittarius may involve wounds around belief, your belief systems, truth, freedom, education, or that feeling that life has meaning. You may question everything you were taught until you discover a philosophy that genuinely belongs to you. Next is Capricorn. I'm a Capricorn through and through. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, the planet that delivers those life lessons. Capricorn is cardinal earth. Now, Chiron and Capricorn may produce wounds involving success, authority, achievement, responsibility, or recognition. You may feel that you must accomplish something extraordinary before you're allowed to respect yourself. Healing the wound may involve taking responsibility for oneself. Learn that you're responsible for yourself and how you feel. You may have grown up under heavy expectations, and sometimes this Chiron wound manifests as imposter syndrome. Aquarius. Aquarius is ruled by Uranus. The traditional ruler is Saturn, but in modern astrology, we go with Uranus. Aquarius is fixed air. Chiron in Aquarius may create wounds around belonging, friendship, individuality, or feeling different. You may spend years believing you don't fit in before realizing that you were never meant to fit in. And you were never, meant to disappear into the crowd. You may feel so strange that you feel like people won't accept you, and that might lead to an overwhelming fear of rejection. The last sign of the zodiac is Pisces, ruled by Neptune and Jupiter. Typically, we go with Neptune in modern astrology. Pisces is mutable water and the most sophisticated psychic sign in the zodiac. Chiron in Pisces may involve emotional, spiritual, or energetic wounds. You may absorb other people's pain. You might struggle with boundaries or feel responsible for saving everyone, or just feel like you're too fragile to survive in a harsh world. And healing requires compassion without sacrificing yourself. Okay, now let's look at the houses. The planets are the energy, the signs are how the energy expresses itself, and the 12 houses are where it all shows up in your life. Chiron in the first house may affect identity, appearance, confidence, or your physical body. You may feel exposed or different, but your healing journey can teach others how to accept themselves. Oprah Winfrey's Chiron wound is with Capricorn in her first house. Regardless of how you feel about Oprah, she is the perfect example to use here. Now think about the first house. People see you. It's those first impressions and how you present yourself to the world. Saturn rules Capricorn, and Saturn will force you to take responsibility, do the hard work, and learn the lessons. Oprah had a tough childhood. It was awful. That revolved around poverty, racial oppression, and sexual abuse, and she had to take on things that were way too heavy for a child to handle. And with her Chiron wound being in the first house, her wound has been on display for the world to see. I mean, she used it to guide her career and to help others heal. The first house is the physical body. Think about her struggles with her weight. Now here's another angle. She was molested, so she had no control over her physical body when she was younger. Now, a key word for Capricorn is control. Part of healing her wound was gaining complete control over her physical body. Every single piece of her Chiron wound was used to build her personal brand. Second house. Chiron in the second house may bring wounds connected to money, possessions, self-esteem, and personal value. Here's an example of someone who has Chiron in their second house. Dolly Parton has Chiron in Libra in her second house. Venus rules Libra. Venus is all about beauty. Dolly's physical appearance was scrutinized from a very early age. For Dolly, a piece of her Chiron wound came from being criticized for how she wanted to look. And she tells a story about seeing a woman on the street. It was the town tramp, okay? And this woman had bleached blonde hair and tons of makeup and, long red fingernails, and Dolly just thought the woman was beautiful. And Dolly was with her mother, and they passed this woman on the street one day, and her mother dismissed this woman as trash. She told Dolly, "Oh, that woman's just trash." And Dolly thought, well, that's what I want to be when I grow up, trash, okay? So Dolly was ridiculed a lot for her appearance, especially early in her career. But I think it's safe to say that Dolly healed her Chiron wound, and what she was criticized for was her superpower all along. Chiron in the third house. This may involve communications, siblings, education, your early environment, or feeling misunderstood. Chiron in the fourth house may point to wounds involving childhood, family, home, ancestry, or your emotional foundation. Chiron in the fifth house may affect creativity, romance, children, joy, confidence, or your willingness to be seen. Chiron in the sixth house may bring lessons involving work, health, service, routines, or the belief that you must constantly earn your worth by being useful. Chiron in the 7th house may create wounds through relationships, marriage, rejection, abandonment, or unequal partnerships. Chiron in the 8th house may involve betrayal, intimacy, grief, shared resources, power struggles, or profound personal transformation. Taylor Swift has Chiron in Cancer in her 8th house. Overly sensitive feelings that cause you to hide. Remember I said that about Cancer, okay? Do you remember what Taylor Swift did back in 2016? She took a year-long hiatus from the public eye and avoided the paparazzi. And she did this after being heavily scrutinized by the media. Now, she may have isolated herself, but she didn't run from the Chiron wound. She used that time to focus on her mental health, and she came back stronger than ever when she could have just stayed in her shell, but she didn't. Also, she has said that she wants to feel safe, and that's Cancer. Cancer rules the home and the inner foundation. Chiron in the 9th house may affect faith, education, travel, personal beliefs, or your search for truth and meaning. Chiron in the 10th house may bring wounds involving career, reputation, authority, public recognition, or your definition of success. Chiron in the 11th house may involve friendships, groups, social acceptance, community, or a sense of not belonging. Chiron in the 12th house may point to hidden wounds, isolation, spirituality, the unconscious mind, or difficult to explain pain. Because the 12th house hides things, you may need time and deep inner work to understand where the wound began. My Chiron wound is in Aries in the 12th house, and it's retrograde. Not uncommon for any placement to be retrograde. In your chart, that's what that little RX symbol is. It's a capital R with a lowercase x. So retrograde motion indicates that I don't project my struggles outward. It's more of a private internal review to reclaim my power from past hurts. And mine is from a past life too. My Chiron wound is deep and it's old. Now with me, my Chiron is spot on. My childhood was very difficult because I was incredibly insecure and very timid. And for no real reason. I never really understood that. And no one would have ever known that about me. Like, if I were in a crowd with my peers, I just automatically felt inferior. I never vocalized how I felt to anyone, and I never understood why I felt that way. Now I know why. As I got older, I wanted to be successful and independent, but deep down, I always felt like I couldn't quite make it there. I always felt like anyone else could do it before I could. And, I had no logic or facts to back any of that up. It was just a nagging, unexplainable feeling. And honestly, that feeling stayed with me until just a couple of years ago. I'm in my Chiron return now, and I've been in it for a few months, and thank God I did the inner work that was needed because I'm more confident now than I've probably ever been. So to sum it all up, the sign and the house must be read together. If you have Chiron and Aries in the 12th house, for example, you may carry a hidden wound surrounding your identity or your right to assert yourself. If you have Chiron and Libra in the 7th house, your deepest lessons may come through relationships, fairness, and learning not to abandon yourself to keep someone else. So you should always look at any aspects Chiron makes to your planets because those connections provide more information. But the house, the sign and the house give you an excellent place to begin. And if you become aware of this information at a young age, You put yourself 50 steps ahead of the game of life. Like, I wish they would have explained my natal chart to me in elementary school. So Chiron may show you something painful, but it doesn't exist in your chart to punish you unless you let it. So you've got free will. So you can override anything in your natal chart that you don't like or you don't want. And you can use your free will to strengthen those talents that you want to cultivate, okay? So Chiron shows you what needs your attention, and once you become conscious of that wound, then you can choose how you work with it. Now, you may never erase every trace of what happened to you. I mean, healing doesn't always mean pretending something never hurt. Healing actually is more about owning it, processing it, accepting it. And sometimes healing means the wound no longer controls your choices. Now, your Chiron placement may eventually become one of the reasons you understand people so well. I mean, you may know how to sit with someone in their pain because you've lived through your own, and you may become the teacher, guide, advocate, or healer that you once needed. So if you find Chiron in your natal chart, please don't panic and assume you're cursed. You are not cursed. You have a wound. Welcome to planet Earth. We all do. The question is not whether you have Chiron. The question is, what are you going to do with it? So if you have any questions, comments, or feedback, drop all of that below, and I'll try to chime in as soon as possible. And I really appreciate you being here with me, and I will see you next week.
The Thought Snob Podcast with Paula Swope has been brought to you by Thought Snob Media in association with Special Purpose Studios. All production, mixing, and sound engineering by me, Will Swope. We hope you've enjoyed this podcast. Please take a few seconds to give us 5 stars and leave a review. See you on the next Thought Snob Podcast with Paula Swope.